Hey guys, it's Jodie and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you've been here for a while, you will know I have been unboxing iPhones on this channel for a very long time, and I have been an avid iPhone Apple user since I've ever had a phone, okay? But recently I have made the switch to the Samsung phone, and a lot of you have asked how I feel about it. Do I regret my choice? Like, why did I go with Samsung and all that jazz? So today I decided to film a truth or myth video regarding switching from Apple to Samsung and my experience. Now, this is not sponsored by Apple or Samsung. I made the decision purely myself, and this is completely my own experience, so take away from it what you will. Just to preface, my old phone was the Apple 13 Pro, and I think I had this for about 2.5 years, and I made the switch earlier this year in September, October. So I've had this phone for about 2 months now, and I had a good run. So I guess I'm able to do a decent comparison. Honestly, I don't use my phone for anything fancy. Basic calls, your social media apps, and camera, that's about it. Let's go to the first truth or myth regarding the switching experience. So the first one is that switching from iPhone to Samsung is difficult and stressful. You lose all your data, all your photos and chats when you switch. I would say this statement is mostly false because switching wasn't actually that difficult. Is it stressful? Yes and no, because the stress really is a mental thing. Like, you need to be mentally prepared for the switch of the phone, but the actual process itself was not difficult at all. They have this app called Switch Smart, and it was like super seamless and easy to follow transition. Now, bear in mind, I didn't have a lot of files, mainly my pictures and my contacts to switch over, so I found the process quite easy. But in saying that, when I transferred it over, the order of my photos were kind of mixed up. You have photos taken in January of 2022, for example, but it'll be with all the Januaries of 2022, 2023, 2024, and then you have like February of 2021, and then 2022, 23. I don't know, the way that it got arranged on my phone on the other end was a bit odd, and it didn't make a lot of sense. But all the files came through, all my contacts came through, so that was good. If you have any messages like iMessage that's embedded in the Apple ecosystem, it will be lost, and all of my text messages that weren't iMessage either was also lost. I honestly had so much junk in my iPhone that I just wanted to start fresh, and I just wanted the core memories and the important contact stuff to be restored. Moving on to the second question, that Samsung phone feels confusing if you are used to iOS. Now, I would say this is true at the beginning, but then becomes a myth afterwards. Is it confusing? Hell yeah. Oh my god, it took me almost a month to get used to all the adaptability and how to actually use an Android phone versus an iOS. iOS, everything's like lined up for you. You don't really have to think. There's only one path you can follow, not much customization, and you just like unlock your phone and you use it as is. Whereas you open your Samsung phone and like, hey, do you want pink? Do you want blue? Do you want it this size? Do you want it this loud? Do you want this brightness? And do you want this app on this page or that page? I was like, there is just so much going on, and that could be confusing for some people if you're not very tech savvy. And I would say I'm quite tech savvy, and it still took me some getting used to. Like, sometimes the settings would be within the app, but the options are like limitless. But then sometimes that setting would be in the settings app. Not everything's like centralized in one place, but it also means that you get a lot more options. I guess it's a good thing in the long run, but at the beginning it could be a little bit overwhelming. If we move to the usability questions, we have one where they say the apps work better on the iPhone than on Samsung. Now, I would actually say this is slightly true. Oh, I feel like the apps ran a little bit smoother on my iPhone for I don't actually know what reason. Sometimes it just does weird things and I just have to restart my app. So on my Samsung phone, like sometimes I'll be scrolling a reel and I've already like flicked past to the next reel and it's still playing the audio from the last reel. Or I'll mute like a song from someone's post and it will still be playing. I'll put my phone on sleep mode and the music from the post will still be playing, for example. So I feel like that's some of the little things that I never experienced with the iPhone. I thought that Samsung could have done a little bit better. Apps do run slightly better on the iPhone where it was always seamless and I never noticed any issues, whereas on the Samsung, a few apps here and there, I've had to restart it and get it running again. Next question on usability is that the Face ID on the iPhone is more reliable than Samsung's biometrics. Alright guys, this one is 100% true. Like, the face recognition on the iPhone was unbeatable, and it's a seamless experience. Like, you feel like you pick up your phone and you're able to use it. On the Samsung, oh my gosh, like, you'll have to like put your fingerprint in like 5-10 times, and like sometimes I like blow onto it to like moisten it a little bit so that it reads my fingerprint. And then the face recognition at nighttime is quite terrible. Sometimes when I have makeup on, it doesn't quite recognize me. I'm like, hello, it's me. I'm still here, it's still me, and it still doesn't recognize, and I end up having to put my password in. One thing with Apple is just so much faster. Like, you put your pin in and immediately it unlocks, whereas on the Samsung you have to put your pin in and then click OK and then it opens. So it's just like extra clunk that's not required. So I find getting into my Samsung is a lot more difficult than it is getting into my iPhone. Now onto the juicy part, which is photos, and this will be like a contention point for most people who are considering either or. And the statement here is iPhones always take better photos than Samsung. I would say this is a myth. So I think they're quite comparable, but they're comparable in very different sense. iPhone's night lighting, or like in dimmer setting, is uncomparable. The way that the iPhone captures light is just so much better, and it brightens your face and you can actually see things. But whereas on the Samsung, the exact same setting, exact same angle, you just get this dull, like dark looking thing, and you've got no dimensions left in your photos. In normal lighting, I would say the Samsung does take better photos. Talking about daytime photos, I feel like the front camera on the Samsung kind of softens the face features a little bit, and the picture overall just looks a little bit better. I don't know what it is, but it feels like on the Samsung there is like a slight smoothing filter on the front camera, so when you like take a picture, it kind of like blur some of those imperfections, whereas like you hold an iPhone up on your selfie camera and you can see every pimple, every wrinkle, like uneven skin tone, and it just makes you look worn down, whereas on the Samsung you look a little bit healthier. Am I crazy, or do you also see the same? Moving on to one of the more important of the categories, which is like privacy and security. The statement here is that Android phones are less secure than iPhones, and I would say this one is true. Don't know what it is, but it just feels like Apple has a much better security system, and all your files and your passwords are saved in a more secure way, whereas on the Samsung you have passwords saved on Google, on Samsung, and it just feels not as secure. And I'm not a tech guru and IT person, but it's just my own feeling that my privacy isn't as good on the Samsung as it was on the Apple. The last point I want to touch on is that you cannot replace the Apple ecosystem once you leave it. I will say this is true. Apple really has worked out their ecosystem. Once you start with one, you're just kind of stuck to get the next one. So I will say Apple has done a much better job in creating an ecosystem than Samsung has, whereas Samsung has a lot more options. You've got all the other Android options. They all work together, whereas Apple is a very exclusive club. So I do agree, you can't replace the Apple ecosystem, but you can find alternative that is like similar, but I would say not quite the same. And this is probably the most surprising one that a lot of Samsung users don't even know themselves, and it's that AirDrop has no real alternative on Samsung. This is a myth, guys. Samsung has the equivalent to AirDrop called Quick Share. It is literally the same thing, but like obviously with other Android users. The only thing you can't really do, you can't quick share to like your computer per se, whereas you can easily AirDrop from your phone to your computer on the Apple ecosystem. But you can on the Samsung make it into a link or a QR code and just send that link, and on your other device access that link, and you can download all your files and pictures from there. So almost the same, but I will say it's a little bit more cumbersome. But like phone to phone, when you're sharing with friends, Samsung to Samsung, absolutely seamless and no problem at all. The last truth or myth question I want to address is that Apple Watch users can't find a good Samsung replacement, and it's an absolute myth. Obviously you can't use your Apple Watch with your Samsung phone, but you can use your AirPods with your Samsung phone, so that's a bonus. And actually My AirPods work so much better with my Samsung than it did with my iPhone, which is so strange. Anyway, there is so many more options now. If you go look for an Android watch, you can find a fitness tailored one if that's what you're into, find a chic looking one if aesthetic is what you're after. There is just so much on the market that you'll definitely find something that caters to you at all different price points. Whereas Apple, you're really stuck with one look, with one option, and that's all you're gonna get. I personally got the Samsung Watch 8 and I love it. Not only does it look really cool, it's with the proper watch band, and I find that so much more comfortable because you've got a lot more adjustment. Again, there is just so much customization available. So I chose a watch face that has all the stuff that I need on the daily. So I've got the weather right there, I've got the time, the date. Also got like stopwatch timers and calculators, which I use a lot for work. And I've got like my media controller, so I can listen to my Audible or my Spotify and click play or like next song at the click of a button. And also got my steps and battery. So those are just how I customized it, but you can do so much. Like honestly, this is just one option of a face and there's like a bajillion out there. Customization available on this Samsung watch is uncomparable to an Apple Watch. Like Apple Watch is like, here, you can do this. You press this button and it does that. Samsung, it's like, what would you like to do with this button? If you press it once or you hold it down, where would you like to swipe? And it really is just a whole new world. How I feel switching from the iPhone to the Samsung is I had tunnel vision. On Samsung, the world is your oyster. Unlike to Apple users, you don't even know what you're missing out on. And that's fine by some people because Apple is easy to use and it works. Whereas Samsung, you've got lots of options and it also works. So there you go. That's my truth or myth. My experience switching from being a long-term Apple user to now being a Samsung user. And I had the whole Apple ecosystem, from the iPhone to the AirPods to the Apple Watch to the MacBook, the iPad, you name it, I had it. Now the only thing I can't use really is my Apple Watch, so I've just switched it to a Samsung one. My life hasn't really changed that much, but I have experienced a whole new world with my new phone. Not only is it thinner, it's lighter, and it really has a lot more functions. My favorite function of switching to the Samsung, it is having a split screen. It is a game changer. Be able to watch a video while you're like on your social media, or having your calculator while you're doing your finances, you've got your email, you know, just being able to multitask and having things floating, more screen real estate to do multiple things at once. Like I am a multitasker and the Samsung phone is an enabler of that. So I really can't ask for more. The big question I have for you is, what team are you on? Are you team Apple, team Samsung? Are you thinking of the switch from one to the other? Let me know down in the comments below and we'll have a chat there. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.